Ripple just flipped the switch in Korea, and folks, we got to talk about it. Now, obviously, we refer to the flip of the switch moment as XRP going up significantly in price. But before we can get there, we have to look as this on-demand liquidity network builds out. Effectively, what's happening is Ripple's flipping the switch in the jurisdictions that will allow them to, right? They are firing up on-demand liquidity, which uses XRP in countries around the world. Now, they're talking about 80 different payout markets, with most of those having access to XRP. One of the last ones to drop here is going to be the United States of America. One of my predictions and reasons for XRP pumping is going to be the case conclusion, and then Ripple flipping the switch in the USA for on-demand liquidity. That's coming. But in the meantime, we're watching them activate Korea from a developer standpoint. They just announced a most recent funding to a company based out of South Korea. And then we have the Korea Blockchain Week conference coming, and the XRP Ledger Zone getting set up and organized by Ripple. Massive moment. We're going to take a look at that. But before we get there, the Fed interest rate decision just came in. They have left rates unchanged. I forget how many meetings this has been now, but basically, significant, well over a year now that they've left rates unchanged. And we've been anticipating and speculating on that Fed rate cut. The market speculating that the September rate cut is a guarantee. And so we're starting to see the market climb back up right now. I think this is going to be a mistake, but I'll explain why here briefly. So let's take a look at it, because gold and silver are both responding incredibly well as well. So the stocks are back up, but so is our gold. 2,439, gold soaring back up here. And now remember, we were about to break through 2,500, and then the shorts came in and they brought this thing back below 2,400 briefly. We were asking the question, though, how long is this going to last before it starts to rip back to the upside? Well, gold and silver both appreciated the news that came out today, and the market pricing in that Fed rate cut. Gold and silver starting to make their move, showing you what's going to happen for them. Now, for the stocks, like I said, we already had a bounce underway leading up into the interest rate decision. Now that it's come through, the rally has extended, and we're going to see how it trades. See, it's pulling back right now as we go into the close. So it's like we got an initial pump in all these stocks after the initial news comes out, but then we're seeing a sell-off right now as I speak. Bitcoin back down again, 65,788 as I'm recording this, and XRP back below 64 cents, but we want to just hold this structure right here. We did get a little brief breakout. We want to see if we can hold this breakout for a couple days, and if the XRP climb will continue. Now, this one's from Ken McElroy. The Fed said today that interest rates remain unchanged and steady at 5.3%. This is a 2-decade high. This is why we can't handle interest rates at this level. It's the highest rate that we've had in 2 decades, and it takes us out of our participation trophy economy into an economy in an environment where you better have your game on, because your cost of debt has gone up 100%, and they don't track that in the inflation data, by the way. Jerome Powell, however, did hint at a possible rate cut at their next meeting, which is scheduled for September 18th. This is the last meeting, I believe, that they get before the November election, and then they have another interest rate decision and FOMC meeting right after the election. It's like the day after. Fed Chair Powell added, quote, "We're getting closer to the point at which a cut will be appropriate, but we're not quite at that point. What are your thoughts on the Fed's latest meeting?" Now, this is the chart, though, that I wanted to show you here that Ken shares. This is what's typically happened here going back to 1975. We got really good data on this, where the interest rates climb to battle inflation, and what it does is it takes us into a recession. Now, what's happened so far here is the gray lines here are your recession, and typically what we'll see is the rates are still going up and the recession has already started. You look back here in the 90s, they had already started cutting rates, and then it came in right after the cuts had occurred. So sometimes this varies, but essentially when we spike the interest rates up this much, a recession always follows. As we've been watching, we have the longest yield curve inversion in history, a precursor to a recession nearly 90% of the time. You see what happened during the 2000s, dot-com bubble, 2006, 2007, great financial crisis into 2008, 2009, and 10. Now, here we are, we get a brief recession in 2020, one that basically we don't even count, right? We have our excuse for it, the events of 2020. But we also did get a technical recession in 2022, which isn't shown on this chart either, and also isn't recognized, mostly because that recession was politically incorrect and because the jobs numbers remain strong, although the GDP did go negative slightly for 2 quarters, meaning the technical definition, they papered that one over, and we kind of just don't consider that a recession for whatever reason. Now, the question remains, are we heading into a recession? In regards to jobs, I would say that we're already in one. This is from Macro Edge, 98,672 job cuts in July. Our first preliminary estimate, final figure available on Saturday in the monthly labor market report via Newswire. So according to Macro Edge, we lost 103,000 in January, followed by 78,000, 73,000, 114,000, 95,000, 97,000, 98,000, and we are climbing back once again. And like I said, you go look at the jobs numbers, they're going to date this recession back to starting in the end of 2023 for jobs. As far as GDP, they might be able to paper it over and cover it with government spending, but the real economy is already in contraction. You guys understand that very well. Now, as far as the situation in Venezuela, this is Maduro saying, quote, "I submit to justice. Electoral chamber must review and investigate the entire electoral process and the actions that were generated. The electoral chamber must resolve the controversy and the attack against the electoral process." And it looks like he's got a red folder too. That's interesting. So we're going to continue to watch that situation. I reported it on my update earlier. He challenged Elon Musk to a fight on national TV. Elon accepted it. I can't explain where we're at in this simulation reality other than it's incredible. You would think we're watching and living through a movie, right? Straight out of Hollywood, center casting. Now, unbelievable. Donald Trump dumping on the Bitcoin bros. We get the official crypto sneakers just dropped, $500 for the pre-order. Sorry, let me clarify, $499. $499 for your pre-order. Let me know in the comments down below if you're looking to get some Trump limited edition sneakers with the Bitcoin logo on the side, and it says Trump crypto president on the side as well. You can't make it up, folks. We got Elon fighting presidents. We got Trump dumping on the Bitcoin bros. What a time to be alive. Hey, speaking of Bitcoin, take a look at this one. Tucker Carlson responding and talking about who invented Bitcoin. Now, Digital Asset Investor retweeted this and brought this to my attention. Huge shout out to DAI. Says, does anyone on here actually believe that Anthony Pump It Up Pompliano, that's my nickname for him, Pump It Up Pompliano, ex-military intelligence, didn't know this as he promoted Bitcoin and pretended not to understand XRP all these years? Really? That's right. Pump It Up Pompliano is ex-military intelligence, but somehow he's not in the crowd that thinks the government or the CIA or another 3-letter agency created Bitcoin. But let's listen in here on Tucker. And by the way, I will add that Tucker has some ties within the groups, and I'll just leave it at that. So let's see what Tucker knows.
Crypto people aren't just in it to make a buck, they're in it to change the world forever. These are not shallow people. These are people who can answer every single question except who was Satoshi, which they don't answer. Someone should answer that. Nope. I think we know. Anyway, in fact, I have a friend who's probably sitting here who told me he did know, but I don't believe him. And I don't care if it was the CIA. It doesn't matter. The idea is still a great idea. Obviously, it was the CIA. I think we all know that. It's like Signal. They got there first. It's a honey trap.
It's like Signal, they got there first. It's a honey trap. You know what else is a honey trap, in my opinion, is the SEC allowing all the fraud, the manipulation, and the pump and dump schemes to prevail in the cryptocurrency space up until this time. I believe that that's a honey trap. Some of the largest influencers, I believe, are literally on the government's books as far as being allowed to prop this thing up and pump this thing up. And Solana, right? Look at Solana, look at the ETH token factory. It all goes back to the free pass, and then it continued after the free pass with allowing tens of thousands and millions of tokens to be released on these ledgers through different schemes that were all fraud, manipulation, unregistered securities offerings, and violation of the laws that we have on the books that are very clear. But they allowed it to go through, they allowed it to pump it up, and the same thing that I talked about in my update earlier today in regards to Ripple versus Tether. If you missed that update, that dropped a few hours ago. Tether, why have they been allowed to go through with their criminal activity, their fraudulent, deceptive scheme, according to the New York Attorney General? Because they've bought $98 billion worth of treasuries, right? We need a buyer of the treasuries as Japan's dumping them and countries around the world are dumping treasuries. China's dumping them at the fastest pace since the great financial crisis. We need buyers of treasuries. This is why Tether's allowed to go through. We need job security at the SEC. This is why they've allowed all the fraud and the manipulation in the FTX and the story one after another of securities violations, insider pumping and dumping schemes, and manipulation schemes that have really put a big blemish on the entire cryptocurrency space when we're trying to be legitimatized. Now, speaking of legitimate crypto and this industry, well, look no further than what Ripple's doing. And as I titled this video, they're flipping the switch in Korea. And remember, this is what's so important about this. Korea and the removal of those exchanges during the 2018 pump is what killed the XRP pump. Korea loves XRP. And the fact that Ripple's investing, doubling down on this commitment, and spurring that grassroots movement of developers over in Korea with funding, resources, and they're going to set up the XRP Ledger Zone in Korea Blockchain Week coming up here in September. Absolutely massive. Registration is now open for XRP Ledger Zone Seoul and after hours on September 4th, 2024. Join this exclusive Korea Blockchain Week official side event and connect with XRP Ledger innovators, developers, and users and industry professionals. Don't miss out. So they are going over there to Korea for the Korea Blockchain Week conference, setting up the XRP Ledger Zone, but they're also handing out some money. Girin Labs receives funding from the XRP Ledger Japan and Korea Fund. The official press release seen right here on Cointelegraph.com. Girin Labs secures funding from the XRP Ledger Japan and Korea Fund. Massive, massive news. Now, what are they up to? Let's get the scoop from Emi Yoshikawa, who is the VP of Strategic Initiatives at Ripple. Huge shout out to Emi. I got to meet her in XRP Las Vegas. Thrilled to welcome Girin Labs, a Korea-based Web3 company, as the first recipient of the XRP Ledger Japan and Korea Fund. Now, remember, they've already committed 1 billion XRP towards this fund. Massive, massive growth for the XRP ecosystem. The Girin team is building an XRP Ledger-focused non-custodial wallet with user-friendly UX UI, e.g. social login, and a DeFi protocol on the Root network. Massive utility here. They're doing some cool stuff over with the Root network, little DeFi protocol, the ability to log in through your socials. This is what makes it simplified and easy. And as I said, this is a country and a region over there. APAC just loves XRP. On-demand liquidity is already live in all of these countries, essentially. And now it's a matter of spurring that growth and development from the bottom up. Well, obviously Ripple's been working with the top institutions over there in that region and the central banks in that region as well. But now they are activating with a billion XRP fund towards developers. We got them going over to take, and they're going to put on a tremendous display and representation at the Korea Blockchain Week. This is one of many switches that are going to be flipped over the coming years that lead to that real XRP flip of the switch moment where XRP grows significantly in price, what we're all here for, right? That's going to come, but people overlook, underestimate, and discount these short-term victories, these events which are effectively a flip of the switch. On-demand liquidity live in this country, on-demand liquidity live in this corridor, working with this central bank. This partnership over here, new blockchain fund, new grants program, new fund for developers over here. Every single one of those is a flip of the switch. When will it equal XRP price go up? The question that you're waiting for. Well, take a look at the charts. The XRP price already has been going up. It's pumped over 70% in the last month. And by any definition, that's a pump. It maybe not for crypto meme coins, 70% in a month is slow, is nothing. And the haters will still call it a poop coin. That's fine. That's fine. We're seeing growth right now. We have a long ways to go. From a fundamental basis, it's as solid as it's ever been in expanding. From a legal basis, we have the competitive advantage, right? And from a technical basis, we're looking at the technicals, it's showing us imminent breakout and price explosion. So people are going to be wishing that they got another chance to buy XRP below 50 cents, another chance to buy the dip. And that might come. As I said, we got black swans coming our way until this election. Be ready to ride out the storm, stay liquid with dry powder on the sidelines, ready to move. But I'm also not going to be on the sidelines watching this thing as it's already making its move 70% in the last month. The opportunity was when it went down to 38 cents on the 4th of July. We should have been celebrating freedom. We should have been celebrating America, and we should have taken a look at some XRP while it was on sale. Kicking myself for that one. Thank God I was able to already stack a bag. Very happy with it. And if you guys are happy with the content that we're putting out, please make sure you like this video, share it out far and wide, and all of our community resources can be found at ZachRector.com. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you in the next episode. God bless. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.